Welcome back, I'm Kim Bailey. This is Floral Art Online and we're looking at flowers you can get at the supermarket or a store and how to use them in a design. So we call it the supermarket series. Today we're going to revisit a structure that I've used previously many months ago. It's a wire frame that came from a home decor store. It had plastic flowers over it, which I have removed, and I've covered it with some string, some jute, and then I've added a couple of the tapestry rings that you can buy at most handicraft stores. Covered them with wool, just crisscrossed them with wool. We've got a little bit of dried orange in there, which is left from a previous design, so I probably won't take it out. And that's on that stand. We're going to use some dried wheat, which you can also get from craft stores or online. And our bunch of fresh flowers are lilies, and we're going to revisit using lilies and how to prepare them and make sure that they're not going to be offensive to people who react to them, because they are quite a reactionary flower, but they do last a long time, and you can look at them from bud through to flower and you get a different look to your design as the flowers open up. So let's get a start. Now I just want to show you the base of this design and where I've put the water source. So inside this hessian wrapped tube down here, that's attached to the base, and then I've got, if I turn it around, I've got one vial on this side and one vial across the shape of the circles on this side as well. And I just realised I haven't cut the ties off that, so I'll do that before I do the next bit. But what that does by having them around the back is gives us an opportunity to thread the plant material through, so it gives it a little bit more depth to the design. So rather than be just a flat, I guess is the best way to describe it, a flat appearance, we're going to feel that there's more room to it than might otherwise be obvious. So let me readjust the camera angle so that you can see what I'm doing at the top of the design, and we'll finish it off with our bunch of lilies. Now I will say to you that I have already prepared the lilies. I've pulled the stamens out, and if you haven't seen the video where I do that, I think it's probably 3 or 4 months ago now. And it's just basically a very soft tug, but you pull all of those stamens off because the red part of them is the bit that will stain absolutely everything it touches. And we've got, in that bunch we had 3 stems, so we've got 2 other stems of as yet unopened buds. So that means that this design will probably last 2, maybe 3 weeks by the time all of the buds are open, but it'll look attractive regardless. We've got 1 stem of leucodendron that was left over from a previous bunch, a previous video, and we've got a little bit of wheat that we're going to add into the design as well. So let me, as I said, adjust the camera angle so you can see what I'm doing. Right, now that we're looking at placements, we're going to place the full flowered opened one first, and that I'm going to thread through to the vial that you saw at the bottom, and that gives us a nice focal area there. I'm just going to tie it off so that it is supported at the top here. This is just some paper covered wire. You could use ribbon, you could use the jute sliver, the hessian, that I've used to cover the rings with as well, and it would then disappear completely into that. Now, because we've got the flowers going that way, we really need something that balances it this way. So we've got the leucodendron that actually has a natural curve to its stem. So we're just going to do the same thing, but for this one I'm going to thread it slightly differently, once again looking at the depth that we can get in this design. Not have them all at the same height, and we'll bring some of these leaves to the back so it doesn't look squashed, and again gives us that sense of depth to the design. So that's our first placement. Now we've got a vial over here at the back, and we've got one on its side there. So I'm going to do this one first with some of the buds, and probably this one. What I'm going to do though is, because I want it to be partially seen, so actually some of the placement is going to be at the back with some of these buds poking through. So It's going to take some angling to actually get it into the vial. So we'll just put them through first. Now, one of the other designers that I really enjoy watching recommends that you don't put the vials in until you've done the flower placements, and so I can see why she says that. So I'm just going to take the attachments I've got here on this vial, which once again is just the paper covered wire, and could be string, could be jute, could be any of those things, because that's the placement that I want for that. Now what will happen when these back ones open is that you'll get that sense of those flowers through this design, so it will always need to be somewhere where you can see that happening. There we go. And so we'll retie that one on so that it's secure in that placement. So thank you, Natasha, for that idea of putting the vials on after you've done the placement of the plant material. It does work. Now we have a third lily left, and I'm not entirely sure. Obviously I've got the vial here and I could put it out that way, but what that does, it really takes you away from the focus of this design. We could have it so that it was just the bud itself, and if I had it poking forward as I have done for this one, then when they open up they'll fill out that space a little bit better. We might try that. Or we could have it down the bottom into this vial that's at the bottom here, or we could have another vial at the back. I'm not sure about that one. I'm going to leave that and have a look at it when I've finished and just see. It might be too much plant material. They're very heavy, the lily flowers, and when they do open, they fill the space, and so perhaps it's better just to have this open space, because we've got full space here on this one. We're filling it with this. We've got a little bit of lighter plant material to put in, so I might well leave that placement off for now. I'll have a look at it, and if you see two photos, you'll know that I've decided afterwards that it did need something else there. Now we've just got the wheat to put in, and because this is dried, we can just weave it through to enhance our design. Let me do that. Now we need to group the placements so that they don't look like they're just floating in space. Someone's put them there for no apparent reason. So we'll tie those two off so that they're in place, and we'll probably have the third one just there. So it brings you across through that design that way. So give me a couple of minutes to tie those off for you, and you'll be able to see the finished product, the finished design. But there we have our use of, in fact, only 2 stems at this stage out of the lily bunch of 3 that we got. I'm Kim Bailey. This is Floral Art Online.